Overwatch 2 Season 18 dropped a few days ago, and with this season, one of the main additions to the season was another Roadhog rework, another addition to the many reworks he's already gotten through the span of Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2, and it's pretty much a revert, probably to the worst state he's ever been in, and the worst he's ever been, which we're going to talk about in this video. Why he is so terrible right now, what they did that absolutely ruined this character, and the reason why Roadhog is probably the worst tank in the entire game now. All his new perks and everything they changed with him with the rework. So if you guys are interested in that, there's actually going to be kind of just more of like a video kind of talking about Roadhog and how bad he really is and what they kind of need to do to change him, because I think overall right now the rework was just an absolute failure, and I honestly do not know why they reworked him. And especially for somebody like me, this is going to be pretty much like a POV of somebody that literally the only tank I really play is Roadhog. The only tank I play is him, and I'm like level 215 with him for like prestige level, so for like I guess hero mastery progression level, whatever you want to call it. So I think if there's anybody that would really kind of know about Hog and playing him with the rework, it would probably be me out of most people. I know there's a bunch of other Hog players, but I don't know like anybody that's like on the level as me, especially that plays on the Nintendo Switch. So leave a like, subscribe, share the video. There's not going to be too much on screen. I'll probably just throw some like gameplay in the background, and then when I'm going through his kit, I'll be showing some examples and stuff for you guys. But the main thing they did with Hog, which I'll throw you guys on screen right now, is they reworked him back to when he had the secondary fire with his scrap gun. Now, up until Season 17, those of you guys haven't been playing Overwatch 2 a long time, you don't even probably remember this. Or if you've been playing for a while, you guys probably do, depending on when you start playing the game. But it's pretty much kind of like a soft revert back to what he had originally with the secondary fire of the scrap gun. So now pretty much what has is his close range has a way bigger spread. And now, instead of Season 17, where you have like the one fire mode, now you have two. You also have a medium range projectile that goes about 20 meters that does a little bit more damage at like medium to long ranges. I wouldn't even say it does that much damage. It literally does tickle damage. It literally doesn't do any damage, which we'll talk about. But it's meant to be a way for him to actually have like damage apart from close range. But in reality, it doesn't literally do anything. It's probably the worst shit ever. And then they also gave him a rework to Take a Breather, which they also did not say at all. Take a Breather you can actually get stunned out of now, and it has a 2-second internal cooldown, and they reworked how it actually works, which I'll show you guys momentarily, which is something that they did not say at all in the patch notes. Of course they would leave that out because everybody would fucking rage if they had that in the patch notes. They didn't say that they were going to give a 2-second internal cooldown and like rework how Take a Breather works in the patch notes at all. They didn't say anything. The only thing they said was the perks and the scrap gun. So, and then got some new hero perks for Hog as well. All these perks are just fucking terrible. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Every single one of these perks is absolutely fucking dog shit. He does not have one single good perk right now. If I had to pick one, I'd say maybe Invigorate. It's probably his best one. But even that needs to be thrown into his base kit with how bad he is currently. Overall, I think right now Hog is probably the worst he's ever been, and this is the worst Hog has ever been in like especially for the entirety of Overwatch 2. We look at all the tanks here, with him being reworked. The main thing now is he no longer has his one shot. The only thing he has and he's able to one shot, I think, is either it's Widowmaker and I think maybe Tracer. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out right now. I don't know why it's so laggy. It's really laggy for some reason. So I don't know. I think you can one shot Widow and I think Tracer, but Tracer's kind of tricky to land. I don't know. It also depends if you walk forward or like if you stay where you are. I don't think it's a one shot, but I think the only character that he can actually genuinely like one shot now is Tracer some of the time, and like Widow. I don't think you can one shot any of the other characters that you normally use to one shot, and that's just going based off of just pulling them in and shooting them. I'm not talking about the melee combo or anything. With the melee, you can do a lot more damage, but I think the main problem with them now is if you're hooking somebody, Stuff that you would hook in and one-shot before, you no longer one-shot at all. Even with the melee combo and like stepping closer to them to get more of like your scrap gun spread onto them so you land more damage, you still don't one-shot a lot of stuff. Your damage is just fucking terrible. With this rework, they significantly nerfed all of his damage numbers, and then they also gave him his shitty secondary fire back, which, if you guys don't know what this does, it pretty much goes to about 20 meters. At 20 meters, the spread tightens, so it does a little bit more damage. And then with his perk, it actually makes it so instead of 20 meters, it actually goes down to 15 meters to where you actually have better accuracy at that range, which in most of your maps is actually a nerf because you actually want to have your close range, because your primary fire actually most of the time does more damage than your secondary fire with that perk, apart from a few specific maps that are kind of more open. Most of the time you don't even want that perk anyways, which is the new scrap gun perk, which is the shrapnel launcher. So pretty much what this does is it takes your secondary fire, instead of 20 meters, it makes it so that it explodes an entire radius instead of 20 down to 15. So it overall reduces your range. You'll do a little tiny bit more damage, but the damage still is not good at all. And most of the time you're going to be doing more damage with your close range primary fire anyways. So this entire perk is just fucking terrible. It is so fucking terrible. And it does not matter at all which perk you pick for a tier 1. Both of these perks are fucking awful. The chain hook one too is also incredibly bad because his hook is so awful now. You can't one-shot anybody. Your damage is fucking terrible. I don't know, probably for some of the gameplay you guys will see in the background as well. You guys will probably know what I'm talking about. It's like more of examples. I'll probably have gameplay in the background throughout some of this, of just some of the games I've had with him so far that I happen to record, with how fucking terrible he is. And like, keep in mind, like, I'm a level 215 Roadhog player. If you're like an average player or like a new player playing Hog, he's genuinely probably the worst tank in the entire game. And I'm somebody that lands like 80 to 90% of my hooks every single game. And like, I know everything about the character, like what to do, how to play him down to a fucking T. And if I cannot get him to work and I'm getting my fucking ass kicked by shit that I would normally destroy in Season 17, and that is kicking my fucking ass now because of the rework, for Season 18, there's a huge problem. I think overall Hog's probably the worst tank in the entire game currently. Another thing is to take a breather. Now we're just going to pick the scrap launcher because it's what it does. It seems to do a little bit more damage, but in reality it's actually, it depends on the map, but on most maps you actually want the 20 meter range, and you actually want what it does normally, so the perk doesn't really do much. You're better off just using your primary fire. You're going to do about the same amount of damage most cases. Now, as far as take a breather, what they did with this is take a breather now has a 2-second internal cooldown. Before, in Season 17, it did not have any cooldown at all. You could use it however you wanted, and the resource will not go away. Now, I'm going to click the button for take a breather. And normally in Season 17, if you clicked it and you took your finger off the button, it would quit. Now the problem with take a breather, I don't know why they reworked it this way. You press it once and it'll drain all your resources. You have to double press the take a breather button to stop the resource. And then if you do that, now there's a 2-second internal cooldown before you can use it again. So now you also get stunned during your take a breather and you're locked out of it for 2 seconds. If you get stunned or hindered or whatever it may be, or knocked back or knocked down or whatever it is, with any type of status effects in the game, which there's a lot of stuff that can take you out of take a breather. But if you're using it now and you use it, and you end it early on accident, there's a 2-second window to be able to use it again. So now there's points where you're trying to fight somebody, you're trying to heal yourself, and you don't have enough resource, or you want to fight back, but there's a 2-second cooldown. Before, when you'd be able to switch between shooting and fighting and then healing yourself really fast to finish off kills, or like fight, especially during like whole hog or that type of thing, you can't do that anymore because there's a 2-second internal cooldown. So it really hinders the plays you can make, especially during whole hog and trying to heal yourself and trying to rotate cooldowns during that with your hook and everything, and also trying to fight stuff especially like 2v1s versus like 2 low health targets. Before, you'd be able to heal really fast, get some health back, try to finish something off, heal again, and then do that. But now you can't do that anymore because of the internal cooldown. It's just fucking terrible. I don't know about you guys too, but if you guys have played the new Hog rework, he just feels like shit to play. He feels like fucking absolute shit to play. It's just so clunky, and like having to double tap the take a breather button to actually stop it, so it just doesn't automatically do this and then drain all your fucking resource. It's just so fucking annoying. It really is. It also seems like for some reason, like I know they got rid of the perk where you get the extra resource on your take a breather, but even then I wasn't really picking that perk most of my games anyways. I was kind of experimenting between the hook perk and then the pig pen perk that will give you the extra resource on your take a breather. But it feels like he just dies too fast. Like I don't know what it is, but Hog just dies too fucking fast. I don't know what they changed. It feels like you're not healing nearly the amount that you should be healing, or if it's just because it's so clunky and the 2-second internal cooldown makes it feel like you're not healing enough when you're healing. In reality, you're probably healing the same amount, but it just feels so bad to use. I just don't know what it exactly is. It's just fucking terrible. Like these are like damage ranges. Like this is like your typical range for damage. Like you're barely doing any damage. Like this is a static target that's sitting in place. Try landing damage on anything that's actually like moving around or jumping around and trying to actually like use shields and like abilities and trying to fight against you. Your damage is fucking terrible. I think you have like probably the worst damage out of any tank in the game right now. And like you try to land a hook. Oh, that was too far away. Like you try to land a hook on somebody and nobody respects your hook anymore because you just don't do any damage. The problem with Hog now too as well is that you can land as many fucking hooks as you want, but you just don't do any damage. Like before, that would probably one-shot this bot. Now it just doesn't do enough damage. They took away his one-shot for pretty much everything. So unless something already has previous damage on it and it's like 75% of its health, only like 75% health, you're not one-shotting most things from full anymore. That's the main problem. So stuff like people no longer respect your hook. You can hook them for days, and now what people do is people just don't care. You can hook them, but they're just gonna fight you back and out-damage you, or just run away because they know you can't kill them anymore. So now you're pretty much what Hog is you're a fucking walking target that charges the enemy team's ult, and you throw hooks out that literally don't do anything unless they're slightly damaged by like 75% health or below, or your team happens to follow up on them and help you kill whoever you hook. Otherwise, you just have no pressure at all. You're literally a tank that charges the enemy team's ult most of the time. That's about all you do, and you don't do any damage yourself. And the only time you genuinely have damage is when you have your own ult. Whole Hog is the only thing that he has that feels like that actually does damage. So I really have no idea. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's not even all the perks, y'all. We got another perk to talk about. We have Invigorate, which was in Season 17, which wasn't changed at all. It just feels like fucking shit to use. In all honesty, I think Invigorate's probably the tier 2 if you do want to play Hulk for whatever reason that you're probably going to want to be picking. Just mainly because his take a breather is so bad to begin with. Any way to try to make it better is just value, because it's just such a terrible ability now with the internal cooldown and how clunky it is to use. But they gave him a new tier 2 perk called Pulled Pork. Pretty much what this does, at 20 meters where your hook maxes out, I'm pretty sure it's 20 meters. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments down below, but I'm pretty sure it's 20 meters. If you max out your hook range and you hook somebody at max range, you get 250 overhealth. And that is only at max range. Keep in mind, most of the time if you're hooking somebody, it's usually like 10 or below meters to try to pull somebody out of position or close to you to try to do damage to them. So like I'm going to pick Pulled Pork right now. This is about the max range you're going to get. There's about, I don't know, I guess that wasn't like 20 meters, that was about 15. So I got about like an extra, what was like 175 something overhealth. And it just doesn't last nearly long enough as well. So the overhealth only lasts, I think, for like 2 seconds if you pull somebody in with your hook, and then it starts going away right away. There's no time limit on what it actually is supposed to stay on your health bar for. It just starts degrading right away after you pull somebody in, which I think is fucking awful. And most of the time, you're going to be pulling people from like around about this range anyways. So if I pull somebody from around this range, I'm only getting about 150. Is it really worth having 150 overhealth when you're going to it's probably going to get shredded through and instantly anyways? And is it really worth wasting a tier 2 perk on that? It's just fucking terrible. Pulled pork is a fucking terrible perk. It is awful. You want to know what I would have gave him as a new perk for a tier 2? Give him extra hook range. Let me hook somebody from way the fuck back here. Like, this would be a great perk. Give me extra hook range. Instead of like 20 meters, extend it to like 30 or 35. That'd be great from like right here. Or even like right here would be great. I think that would be really cool. Give me extra hook range. Reward me for landing my hooks, because that is the main thing that Hog does, and his entire fucking identity is landing hooks, pulling people in and following up on the hooks and trying to kill people that way. And they pretty much ruined everything he tries to do now. You can no longer one-shot pretty much anything unless they have some type of damage already on them. From full, you're sure ain't one-shotting anything. His survivability fucking sucks. You get stunned out and knocked back, and like anything takes you out of your take a breather, and then you're forced to take a bunch of damage before you're able to heal again. And then if you don't do it properly, if you don't double click the button and stop it, unlike before, you'll go through your entire resource bar and you'll end up fucking it up, which I've had a few times happen to me. That's just mainly because I'm not used to it, but I think once I get used to it, it'll go away. But especially for like your newer players, like that type of shit is really terrible and feels just awful to play. I think literally the only good thing about Hog right now is his ult. He's an ult bot. That's the only thing that's actually good about him. Knocking people off the map with his ult and like hooking people off the map. If you are not on a map that has ability to hook people off the side of the map, or like off the map in any type of way and get picks that way, or blow people off the map with your fucking ult and knock them off the side, I literally think you can just play any other tank and probably get away with it way better. He literally does nothing. Hog is the worst tank in the entire game right now, just mainly because of that sheer fact alone. You can hook as many people as you want, and people no longer respect your hook. Your damage fucking sucks, your secondary and your primary fire. Your damage numbers are so fucking terrible, you get out-damaged by... Even the majority of the supports are able to fucking brawl you now, which was never the case. Season 17, or up until now, up until Season 17, and then up until now when it got changed, that was never the case. You're fucking getting brawled by supports, and you can't even kill the supports now a lot of the time. Like, it's just crazy. And like, we can go look at the hero roster right now, and like some of the stuff that would normally check you. I think right now, just looking at some of the heroes, let's look at the tank category real quick as well. Like, I think generally the only tank that you probably win against right now is Doomfist. Just being able to constantly hook the guy nonstop all game. That's about the only tank I think you generally probably win against. Every one of these other tanks right now, no matter how much you hook them or how much you outplay them, they win versus you no matter what. And like, that's even with some of the bad matchups. If you were really good at Hog for up until Season 17, and with it being changed now, Malga, if they just pick Malga into you, they just automatically win because you just don't do any damage. And like, your hook, the combo and all that type of stuff just doesn't do any damage. So they're just able to free fire on you and all that type of shit. And you cannot do anything about it. Granted, you still need a team to kind of help you damage-wise, even if you're constantly hooking the Malga. But before, if the Malgas were like mid or below type of player level, and they didn't really know what they were doing, or they were like average type of Malga, even being on Hog, which normally that would be a bad matchup for, you could still probably outplay him and still win that matchup if you were good enough, which usually was the case for me. Now, every single time I've went against Hog this season, or Hog into Malga this season, I've lost just because they switched to Malga, and I just get absolutely fucking wrecked by them. Same thing with Orisa. Orisa got buffed. She got a really incredibly good perk, y'all, which we can probably talk about in an entirely different video, but if anything, she got buffed this patch. And Hog is worse into Orisa, so now if they swap Orisa, or if she's not banned and ranked, you just automatically lose. If you play Hog into Orisa, no matter how fucking good you are now, you just lose automatically. You are forced to swap if you want to win the game. Otherwise, if they swap to a Risa versus you and you refuse to swap, which is usually me, even if no matter how good I am, even if I want to try to outplay the Risa and still try to fight her, you just can't win. No matter what you do, you cannot win. You are forced to swap into something else now. Otherwise, you guarantee 100% of the time usually lose versus Arisa. Before, up until now, season 17, up until that point, if you were really good at Hog, you could still try to outplay the Arisa and kind of try to fight into her, and you could still relatively do somewhat well, as long as you knew what you were doing, and like depending on the Arisa's skill level as well. But you could still fight into him, and if you were still really good, you still could maybe win a lot of the time. Now you can't do that anymore. A lot of these other tanks, like, you can hook D.Va for days, but she just outdamaged you and freely charges ult off you. You are literally a fucking free charge ult magnet for D.Va. Like I said, the only tank I think you literally can probably fight and have a good matchup into is Doom. And Doom's not really that common right now, so I guess maybe Hazard as well, but like he also outdamages you and he's just way better currently, so I haven't really played much against Hazard though, especially as Hog. I'm not 100% sure, but like all these other tanks, Sigma also is really good. He got some really good perk buffs. Like all these other tanks, I genuinely just don't think you do anything versus, unless you're on a map where you can like hook the enemy tank off the map, or like try to hook them into your team, or like push them off the map with an ult every time or something like that. You just lose, or like you just struggle in a lot of these matchups because you're just so bad right now. It's really sad. Same with a lot of these DPS. Like before Ashe, if you hooked Ashe, she was pretty much a free kill, like a clean kill. If you hooked her, she was dead. She got one-shotted. Now she actually lives, and she can actually fight you back, y'all. That's a new thing. If you hook Ashe, she coach guns back, you actually do not one-shot her. Before, if you hooked Ashe in and you got her and you landed your hook, she was dead. No, she's no longer gets one-shotted, y'all. At least from what I've played. So I don't know. There's a lot of other heroes here as well. Reaper's another one that's just way better into Hog now too. Before, if you hooked Reaper, a lot of the time you could one-shot him. Now that your damage is way lower, you no longer one-shot Reaper, and he's able to brawl you after being hooked and usually win the 1v1 a lot of the time because he outdamages you now. So you're worse into Reaper yet again, which was already a really bad matchup for Hog, because you no longer do really solid amount of damage. You no longer are able to one-shot him most of the time, and he's able to brawl you back. And with the life steal he recovers off you, he usually wins the 1v1 a lot more of the time now. We can sit here and talk about like all these DPS too. Like a lot of these DPS, a lot of them you don't one-shot anymore. I think maybe the only one that you can maybe still kind of consistently one-shot is Chunk. It depends if you can headshot him though, I think. I'm not sure. A lot of these supports as well, a lot of the supports that you would normally one-shot or do a shit ton of damage to as well if you hooked him in. A lot of them can actually brawl you or run away from you now, y'all. So what the fuck good is it if you hook a support and you can't fucking one-shot him and get rewarded for landing the shot? And they can fucking run away or try to out-brawl you damage-wise now. I just don't understand. I really don't. I think the only one that you could probably win in a 1v1 if you hooked him in is probably Zen. And that's just mainly because he has like a walking hitbox. It's pretty easy to land a headshot on him. So I don't know. I think every other support either runs away or brawls you and you can't one-shot him anymore, which is really fucking sad. Just goes to show you how awful he is. Let me know what you guys think of Hog in the comments down below, but by far this season, at least for me, playing Hog as my only tank, and being the only tank I really play, this entire season has been completely ruined with how fucking awful Hog is. What am I supposed to do when I go into ranked now and the only tank I can play is Hog, and he's the worst fucking tank in the entire game? What am I supposed to do? Try to ban out his checks and then have something else get through that still normally isn't banned and then still get wrecked by it anyways because it's just so bad? If we do not get a hot fix here in like the next week or two with some major Hog buffs, and there's a few other characters as well that are just really fucking trash or have some really shitty perks that were reworked and or like new perks that are just terrible, which I can probably make an entire video on as well. That needs some type of buffs or some type of changes. Like this entire season's doomed. And like I'm somebody that predicts, if you guys follow me on X, I predicted that this season, overall, if compare it like the loot boxes and everything are great, which I'll also have a video of me opening over like 100 loot boxes if you guys are interested in that, probably later this week. But like apart from the loot boxes and like one or two other things, like this entire season has been completely ruined yet again by balance and like poor balance changes and like additions to the perks. The perks are the majority of the perks either make no sense, are really broken, or just fucking plain stupid and really bad, which sucks. Goes to show you they have no play testing and like no thought process at all with a lot of the perks because they don't make sense or they're just way over buffed or broken or just downright terrible. And then the balance with the game for like shit like Hog, and there's one or two other heroes as well that are also really weird balance-wise currently. Like the balance is just fucking terrible. This is probably one of the most promising and most content-filled seasons we've ever gotten, especially over the past year, and it was ruined by terrible balance and then awful perk reworks mostly. It's really sad. Every time they have the chance to knock a season out of the park and have it being an absolute banger season, one of the best ones of all time, it is consistently ruined by bad balance. You want to know what that tells me? That tells me that Eric Keller and Alec Dawson needs to be fired. The balance team for this game needs to be fucking terminated. Get somebody on the balance team that actually plays the game and somebody that actually knows what the fuck they're doing. Because whoever's balancing the game right now, especially with these reworks, they failed with Sombra. I don't know what there's another rework too, I think. But I guess you could say Bastion got reworked how many times already. Like every fucking rework we've gotten, especially over the past year or two, has been a fucking failure. An absolute abysmal piece of shit failure. Whoever's in charge of the reworks, if it's the same two people that are in charge of the balance, which I'm pretty sure it is, they gotta be terminated. They cannot be allowed to rework all these heroes and like get away with them being somehow worse than they currently are. It's crazy. So I know. Let me know what you guys think of the current state of Hog after the rework for Season 18 in the comments down below. I know I'm gonna probably have some shit. I love Hog. I love that Hog's nerfed. Fuck Hog players. I hate playing against them. Fuck you. Fuck Hog players. Whatever it is. However you feel about them, whatever. I don't really care. Nor do I give a fuck what you think. But you cannot deny that having an entire character being reworked for about the millionth fucking time, and then being reworked to the point where they're absolutely unplayable and the worst tank in the entire game, how is that not a problem? You cannot deny that that is not an issue. I'm sure if it was a Mercy player, like somebody that would say, oh, I fucking hate Hog, if it wasn't one of your mains, and if it was some character that you play a lot, like a Mercy or Kiriko, or one of the other popular heroes that everybody plays, and they got reworked, and it turned them into the worst hero in the entire game, either it would be reverted and reworked or changed within like 48 hours in like 2 or 3 days, or everybody would be complaining and then they would fix it right away. Or it would never happen because they would actually take time to actually rework them properly. So I don't know. It's always the Hog players and like the Somber players and like all the characters that always get the reworks. They just don't know what the fuck to do, and every time they rework them, it seems like it's somehow worse than the previous rework. Was Pigpen really that much of a problem? Was it really that much of a problem for the game? And was Take a Breather not having an internal cooldown, was that much of an issue? Where it pretty much makes Hog feel like a shit to play now with the being constantly stunned and like locked out of your fucking Take a Breather and having to double click it to stop it. Feels like fucking shit to play. It's terrible. Feels like absolute shit to play. Was it really that much of an issue? I don't know. It was really satisfying. I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, having the Pigpen and throwing it down and then hooking people into the Pigpen for the damage hook combo, it just felt really good as a player and really satisfying to land. That's all I want as a player. I want to be satisfied with the plays I'm making and the abilities I land on other players. If I land a fucking hook and I combo it into a Pigpen, I deserve the one shot or I deserve the damage for that play. Especially if I'm landing my hooks. That's the entire identity of Hog. Why did they get rid of that for this other shitty rework to bring back the fucking secondary fire and all this other bullshit is beyond me, when it really was not much of an issue. Who was complaining about Pigpen, and who was complaining that was that bad and that awful for the game and unhealthy for the game? when you have fucking Orisa and all these other characters in the game that could probably use reworks. Even Sombra could probably use a rework over Hog yet again. And then they go and rework Hog and turn him into the worst character in the entire game. Whatever. Like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you guys think of Hog if you played him for Season 18? What do you think of him? Maybe you're somebody that loves Hog being bad because you fucking hate him. Whatever it is, let me know in the comments down below. Kind of just like a more of a rant and kind of just a, I don't know, like a verbal fucking dump on the devs because they are fucking awful at their job. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks we get some balance changes that make them a lot better, or some reverts, or just an entire revert to back to Season 17 Hog. Just say, yeah, this entire rework was a fucking failure. We're gonna revert him back to Season 17 Hog. And then rework his tier 1 perk, so because he won't have the secondary fire anymore. Give us something else. I don't know. Just genuinely fucking clueless, idiotic balance team. And yet again, another season that would probably be normally the best season we've had in years, with the amount of content we've got for this Season 18 update, completely fucking ruined by perks and balance changes. So it's really sad. 2 steps forward, 10 steps back with every new Overwatch update, it seems. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace out, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in a future video. I have a tier list probably later this week, probably in this weekend. So if you guys are interested in the tier list for rank Season 18, I'm having an updated tier list going live later this weekend. Keep an eye on the channel for it. Subscribe if you're new. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna get out of here. Peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.